Hello everyone, welcome to Officers Adda 247 class. So heartily welcome to all the bankers in this lovely session. So once again I just want to say the good morning to all the bankers in this early morning session. So before to start this session, just a one request, just use a pen and paper, because if you're finding any concept that is important, just pen down that, just note down that, okay. Whatever the questions we are discussing, because this is a class 3 of your MCQs of module C. So whatever the questions we are discussing, the concept we also discusses about that. So just note down that. And the very important thing, if you're new on the Officers Under 247, so just subscribe the channel so that you can get regular update from our side, and download the Under 247 application so you can get everything at a one place. Okay, so let's begin this session. I hope everyone just joined this session. So before to join this session, just hit the like button and just share this video to your colleagues, to your friends, so that maximum number of our bankers can join with us in this so much interesting session. Okay, so let's start today's class of your module C MCQs. Let's start with the question number first, and just my dear friend, just whatever I'm just showing you, whatever I'm just explaining you, just learn that and just note down into your copy. Okay, so let's just tell me what will be the answer of this question, and the same type of the questions we actually discussed in the previous session. So now I just want that, just give me answer of this, because the same, based on the same concept, you are going to get the question in the examination, right? So just tell me what would be the answer of this question. Anybody can tell me what would be the answer of this question? Whenever we talk about the debt equity ratio, like if you just watch my sessions of the whatever the batches whatever the batches I have taken. So if you watch the session, then this question would be very easy for you. So you can understand the debt equity ratio, and what we understand by that, the debt equity ratio. Whenever we're talking about the ratio analysis chapter, the very first thing that you have to understand, you just do not need to memorize any formulas, you just do not need to memorize that. Okay, you only have to formulate the formula, and you will be able to, once you just going to understand what the different terms means, like, okay. So if we're talking about the debt equity ratio, so what we understand by the debt equity ratio, whenever we're talking about, like, for any company, we usually consider, and the investor is only want to see the company's long term liability, neither company's short term liability. Okay, so for the debt equity ratio, we always write the long term liabilities in the numerator. Okay, so if we're talking about the long term liabilities, so we will write here long term liabilities, and it would be divided by the equity. And if with the equity, what we understand by the equity, we can understand it is something a shareholders fund, or you can also understand it may be a capital for the company, right? So now when we talk about that, there would be long term liabilities that would be divided by the shareholders fund. And now you can understand there are multiple informations are given and how to utilize that. Okay, and whenever you are going to get the like any question, okay, of the module C, the one thing that you have to understand, that you have to use the balance sheet equation in any question. That means if you just not aware of the question, and if you just not practice the question, so you only have to know that the balance sheet, or say accounting question, that is a very important for solving the questions of the module C. Okay, so now if I say the balance sheet equation, what we understand by that, this is the assets is equal to liability plus capital, or that capital may be the shareholders fund, or you can also understand that is the equity, right? So if we talk about the long term liabilities, so what we understand by the long term liabilities of the company, the very important thing, the total liability. Okay, so the term that is total liability, in that you are going to understand the current liabilities as well as the non current liabilities. Okay, so whenever we're talking about the current liabilities, that all about the short term liabilities, and the non current liabilities that belongs to the long term liability. Okay, so this is for the short term liability, and this is for the long term liability. In what component we required, that is long term liability. So how to solve that? Okay, so just understand here the total debts or say liabilities, both are the same terms. Okay, so total liabilities or say total debts are given 2 lakh, current liabilities are given 1 lakh rupees. That means this is given the 2 lakh, this is given the 1 lakh. So that is obviously the non-current liability, that would be the 1 lakh rupees also. Okay, so that term you actually derived here. Now we have to just now we have to just formulate the shareholders fund as well, and we know the accounting equation, that is equal to the assets is equal to the capital or say shareholders fund plus liabilities. Okay, and we talking about the total asset. Okay, so total asset that is given the 2,50,000 rupees, isn't it? Okay, and the total, if I say total liabilities, that is given the 2 lakh. Okay, so you can just write here that is 2 lakh, and here it is written the capital also shareholders fund. So from that you can just determine the capital, which will be equal to the 50,000 rupees. Now I think it is perfect for everyone. Now the long term liabilities that you actually derive, that is a 1 lakh rupees. Okay, and it would be divided by the 50,000, so that would be equal to the ratio 2:1. Very correct answer given by everyone. Very good attempt by everyone here. Okay, and that's the spirit we actually want from you guys. Okay, so just tell me what will be the answer of the second question. Whenever we're talking about the balance sheet, what we understand by that, there is a two things that you always have to keep in mind. The very first thing that from the balance sheet, the very first thing that if I say the from the balance sheet of any company define the financial position of the company. And the another thing, what I told, the balance sheet is actually define the financial position of the company. And the another thing that this is a balance sheet. Under the balance sheet we actually have to prepare the assets and liabilities. Also we have to record the assets and liabilities, right? So while we preparing the balance sheet of a company, account receivables, okay, whenever we talking about the account receivables, you can understand there are some debtors of you. That means who just purchase the goods from you on the credit. Okay, so that's why he is known as a debtor and you are known as a creditor. So that means you are going to receive the amount from these kind of the debtors. So that is termed as your assets for the company. Okay, because you are going to get the like the rupees, also you are going to get the amount in the future as well. So that is known as a assets. Okay, and that is also known as a current asset, because as like the current asset, when you are just talking about the current asset, you can understand the assets those you can convert into cash within 1 year. Okay, so that is known as a current asset, or you can also understand the short term investment, right? So if I'm talking about the account receivable, so you have to understand a very important topic here, that is the how to just recognize that. So while preparing the balance sheet of a company, account receivables is shown under which head? So the correct answer, that would be the current asset. That would be your correct answer for this question. I'm hoping that everyone just everyone just enjoying this session, and just hit the like button. The like is so much less here, so hit the like button as well. Okay, all right. So now just try to solve the another question. Tell me what would be the answer of this question. So whenever we're talking about the assets that cannot be seen, touched, and have no volume but have value are called. So tell me what would be the term that we just know about this, the asset. Can anybody tell me what would be the answer of this? Yes, that is very correct answer. Okay. When we talk about the assets, okay, there are two things that you have to understand while reading the assets. The very first thing, that the one that is known as a tangible asset, like we understand the current asset and the non-current asset. And apart from that, if we're talking about the tangible and the intangible asset, there also be the part of the asset. Okay, so whenever we talk about the tangible asset, so you have to understand the assets that you cannot touch. Oh, sorry, tangible assets are those assets, those that you can touch, that all asset known as a tangible asset. And those assets you cannot touch, those known as a intangible asset. I'm hoping that everyone just understanding this. Okay, so what would be the answer of this question? Now just tell me what would be the answer of this question. The asset that cannot be seen, touched, or have no volume. So what would be the answer of this question? That the Because we know here that assets actually classified into two categories. One is a current and another one that is a non-current. So what would be the answer of this? Yes, that is the correct answer. That would be your intangible asset. Those assets, though, like you cannot convert into cash within a year. So that is known as the intangible asset, right? So intangible asset, that is known as like which cannot be seen, touched, or have no volume but have values, are called the intangible asset, right? So like you can understand the intangible asset like brand, trademark, logo, that all understandable as your intangible asset. Those you cannot touch. Okay, so that is known as an intangible asset. I am hoping that you are just understanding this, and this would be your the second part. That would be the correct answer of this question. Now, when we talk about the profit and loss account, and that you are going to understand in the chapter of the preparation of the final account. And when we talk about the preparation of the final account, that is a very there is a so much things that you have to understand. For the preparation of the final account, you should understand, like you have to make, or say you have to prepare the profit and loss account, and you have to prepare the balance sheet of the company. So in the preparation of the final account, when we talk about the preparation of the profit and loss account, so the gross profit is shown on which side? That is a very important thing, that like it is shown on the credit side or it is shown on the debit side, and that is a very important question as well. So you have to understand the gross profit always shown on the credit side, while gross loss is always shown on the debit side. That is a very important concept. I think everyone just understood this, right? So the correct answer, that would be the A here. Now, the next question, that net sales minus cost of sales results in what? So if I'm talking about the net sales minus cost of sales and that results in, then there is a one term that you understood, the gross profit. And whenever we're talking about the gross profit, that is actually equals to the net sales minus, you can understand, the cost of sales, or you can also understand another term, that is cost of goods sold. Okay, so gross profit is what? That is net sales minus cost of sales or cost of goods sold, that is known as a gross profit. And what would be the correct answer of this? That would be the A. A would be your correct option for this question. Okay, I'm hoping that everyone just understanding this, right? So that's how we actually solve the questions in the examination as well. Okay, so now next question. The expenditure which helps increasing the earning capacity of the firm is an example of what? Like whenever we're talking about the expenditure, okay, so we have to just read the multiple expenditures in the accounting subject. So if the question is like the expenditure which helps increasing the earning capacity of the firm, so what would be the answer of this question? Just quickly tell me what would be the answer of this. When we talk about the expenditure which helps increasing the earning capacity of the firm, so you have to understand, like whenever we're talking about the earning capacity of the firm, so you can understand with the assets we are talking about. Like suppose that you purchase the fixed asset for your company. Okay, we are talking about the fixed asset you purchase for your company, so we can understand, like with the fixed asset you are going to earn, or say you are going to earn for your business, for your firm, for your organization. Okay, so the expenditure, like the expenditure on the fixed asset, you can also understand here. So that expenditure is known what? And in the JIB examination you can get, the very big thing, that you have to strong with your concept, because if your concept is strong, like what I told you for this question, now this question may be asked like this, the expenditure that incurred on the purchasing the fixed asset. So you can understand the fixed asset does what? The fixed asset is actually increase the earning capacity of the firm, and if it is increasing the earning capacity of the firm, so now you can understand the correct answer, that would be your capital expenditure. Okay, so the capital expenditure is what? Capital expenditure that helps in the increasing the earning capacity of the firm, and that would be the correct answer for this question. I'm hoping that you're just understanding this concept, right? So just do the another question. That is a very important question, and based on that you are definitely going to get the question, like the 2 marks questions in the examination. So just practice as you can. Just practice from my sessions, and there are multiple things that I just explained you through the sessions, through the questions. So just note down that also. Okay, So you have to calculate here cost of goods sold. So what would be the answer? Just tell me quickly here. Okay, whenever we're talking about the cost of goods sold, so you can understand this is a factory, this is this, there is an opening stock, like that we are talking about the financial is starting. And look, after sale there would be some closing stock as well. Okay, and that you can understand at the ending of the period. Okay, and there would be some purchases also. Suppose that there would be for example, I just want to tell you here, suppose that there would be the 1 lakh rupees of the opening stock in the financial year. Now your purchases, that would, you can understand, suppose that 50,000 rupees, your sale, like you can understand your uh, or you can understand in this like in this example, that suppose the closing stock is just a 20,000 rupees. So now you have to calculate the what is the cost of goods sold, right? So for the cost of goods sold, you can understand like the opening stock plus purchases, or you can also say that the cost of goods sold is the opening stock plus net purchases. Okay, opening stock plus net purchases minus closing stock, or you can also say the closing inventory. Okay, so if I'm talking about, this is a opening stock, this is a net purchases minus closing stock, you have to write here. Now the very first thing, that the opening stock that is given, because we are talking about the cost of goods sold, right? So the cost of goods sold, or you can also just understand the cost of goods sold is also known as a cost of sales. So you never have to be confused in these terms, right? So when we talk about that, we have to just find out the cost of goods sold. So cost of goods sold is the opening stock plus net purchases minus closing stock. So your opening stock, that would be the 5 lakh. Your net purchases, whenever we talk about the net purchases, so you can understand, suppose that this is you, and you actually purchase like of the 50,000 rupees of the product, but there are 30,000 of the products that you just did not like that. Okay, or suppose that there would be some reasons, like you have a more quantity in your factory. So suppose that 30,000 rupees you actually return that. Okay, so that is known as a purchase return. And when we talk about the net purchases, so that net purchase is known as your 20,000 rupees. That would be the 50,000 minus 30,000 rupees. Okay, so now the net purchases, that would be equal to what? That would be equal to the 20,000 minus closing stock. So whenever we talking about the closing stock, so now you can understand that would be equal to the your 2 lakh rupees. Okay, so this 2 lakh we actually can write as the 2 lakh here. Okay, so now if I have to just solve this 5 lakh, this is a 2 minus 2 lakh, so this would be the 3 lakh, and that value would be equal to the 3 lakh 20,000 rupees. The correct answer that is given by everyone here. Cheers to everyone for this. So this is how we actually solve the questions in the examination. Okay, I'm hoping that you're just understanding the all the concept I'm telling here. Now just tell me what will be the answer of this question number 8, and I just want this answer of this question from everyone. Okay, because I once again I just want to say your concept will never change, only question change. Okay, so like you only have to understand like what the concept behind that, and based on that, like you have to just tell me the answer of that. Apart from that, if you're just not aware of this question, if you're just not aware of this kind of the terms that is given here, the very important thing that you have to just strong with your concepts here. Okay, so income tax that is deposited by the proprietorship firm due to tax liability of the proprietor. Okay, so it will be, now just read the options one by one. So it would be debited to the profit and loss account, it would be added to drawings of the proprietor, it added to the capital of the proprietor. So what would be the answer of this question? Anybody can tell me what would be the answer of this question? The very important thing that I told you, that due to business entity concept, your owner and, or say your proprietor or the proprietorship firm, both are the different entity due to business entity concept, right? So that means whatever the tax liability of this proprietor, this is not the liability of this company. And if the income tax that is deposited by this firm, that means it is what? It is the drawing of the proprietor, right? so it will be added to the drawings of the proprietor. What we understand in the previous session for the business entity concept questions, like whenever the owner just drawing like any kind of the amount or any sum of the amount from or say any goods from his firm, from his company, so you can understand there would be a account that would be included, the drawing account, and that should be the debited there, right? So have to understand here this income tax that would be added to the drawings of the proprietor, that would be the correct answer for this question. Okay, right. Now, what are the types of the computerized accounting system? So there are multiple options are given, like you have to understand in the computerized accounting system there would be used like ready to use software, customized software, and tailor-made software, and that all the softwares that is the that are the types of the computerized accounting system, that ready to use software is used, customized software is used, and tailor-made software used, that all software used for your computerized accounting system. Okay, so that is a very important question as well, so I'm hoping that everyone is just understanding this. Now the next question, just quickly tell me what will be the answer of this, and I think everyone just can give me answer of this question. Just try one more time, just tell me what will be the answer of this. Golden rule of the accounting, in that we actually understood about the debit and credit entry, right? So like when we talk about the real account, so what we understand by the real account, the real account for the golden rule of the accounting, the real account, what we understand, the the very first thing that for the real account, that all assets comes under the real account, right? The very first thing that what we understand, like all the assets comes under the real account category. Now the very first thing that for the real account category, what the golden rule of the accounting says, that says debit what comes in and credit what goes out, right? What says that debit comes in and credit what goes out, right? So that means if the question is that our credit entry in the real account signifies that, now what I say, once again I just want to say you should have a strong withdrawal concept, because now you can see that the multiple questions you can get from the same concept in the examination. Okay, multiple questions you can get if you're strong with your concept, that means you can handle any kind of the questions in the examination. Okay, so a credit entry in the real account signifies what, that the value of the asset has decreased, the value of the asset has increased, a new asset has been acquired. What understand by this? Look, once again just read this, like debit what comes in, so whatever is coming in, we are talking about the assets, right? So if the asset is going to come in, that means we are just going to debit that, and whenever we are just going to credit, that means that something is going out, that means our asset is going out from our business, that means the value of the asset has been decreased. Okay, so the correct answer that would be the only A, the value of the asset has decreased. Okay, so that's how we solve the questions, and I'm hoping that everyone just enjoyed this session, and please just like the session because it actually appreciate our effort, appreciate our content. Okay, so whatever the content we are just taking, and that actually appreciates, so hit the like button as much as you can, and just share this video to your friends, so that maximum number of our bankers can just join like in these kind of the sessions. Okay, now I just want to tell you a very important thing, that you know this is a JAIIB examination, and your examination that is scheduled in the June month, right? So now the very important thing I just want to tell you, that you should just enroll in the target batch, because in the target batch you just going to get like the each sessions in the proper way, the each concept you're going to understand in a proper way. And the very important thing, that you just do not need to worry that from where you should start your study and where you just have to end your study. Okay, there is so much confusion while we are just preparing, we have to just watch the sessions, or multiple sessions we actually have to watch, still we are not confident for our examination. And the very important thing I would like to tell you, we not prepare only for the 50 marks, we actually prepare you for the 70 and 80 plus marks. And you can ask to whatever the bankers actually just whatever the bankers just actually enrolled in the batches, that difference that actually they feel. Okay, so you are going to get like the 60 plus e-books in that session, 80 plus topic wise test series, full mock test, e-books, and the very important thing that do not forget to apply the code Y422. And this is a very simple to I think memorize, like 422. Okay, so Y422, and by this you are going to get the big discount on any kind of the JIB CIB batches, mock test, as well as the ebook. Okay, you only have to use the code Y422, and with this you just do not need to worry, or say you just do not need to pay the full amount on the batches, and you will get the big discount. That means whatever I'm just going to tell you, that means you are going everything at a very minimal price. Just first just try to see that. Okay, no, I'm just talking about this is a target batch where I'm just your AB faculty for the English medium batches. Okay, so you can just enroll in that batches, and you can also just enroll in the individual batches. Let me just show you that how you can enroll in our batches. Okay, so the very first thing that you have to go to the, just a minute. So the very first thing that you have to go to the adda247.com. Okay, and after that you have to go to the JIB section, where you may just enroll in the JIB CIB Mahapak. Okay, as well as you can just enroll in the JIB. Okay, so in the JIB Mahapak, JIB CIB Mahapak, if I'm talking about, there is a 12 months validity. And once again I just want to tell you, this is not the full price you have to pay. You are going to get the big discount, like here it is given 75%, but with my code like 422 Y422, with this you are going to get the 78 to 80% discount on this JIB CIB Mahapack, or JIB ka Mahapack, or CIB ka Mahapack. And on that batch on that packs, you are going to get the multiple things. Okay, if I'm talking about, you're going to get the mock test, video lectures of the multiple, and you can just read here. Okay, just try to understand here, like the live classes, like 5 plus batches of the PPB FB, and all things you are going to get if you enroll in the, if you just if you just register for the for your JIB examination on the IIBF side. So I think there is a one thing that actually remain for the enrollment of the batches. Okay, now I just want to tell you that how to enroll for the target batch, because there are only few classes that already done, and that also you have like you are going to get in the recorded form. Now if I say that you have to go to the JIB section, now you have to go to the JIB. Okay, and if I'm talking about the, you are going to get the bilingual as well as the English batches there. The very important thing I would like to tell you here, that you will also get the individual batches like AFB. If you just want the AFB batch, so you can get the AFB batch also. And if you want the all batches like the PPB, AP, and LRB, so you can just enroll in this. Okay, and now once again I just want to tell you that there are, everything is given, like every schedule is given. Now the what you have to do, you have to go to the buy now section, and under the buy now section, the only thing that you have to do, and you will see like the price that would so much reduce. Now Y422 you only have to apply, and with this you can get like this kind of the batches, where the three subjects, like you know by these kind of the batches, you can understand like you definitely going to clear your examination if you understand from our sessions. Okay, so that's all for this session. Now I'm hoping that everyone just understood the session, and if you understood, just do not forget to hit the like button on this video, and share this video to your friends, to your colleagues, and subscribe the channel. So thank you everyone for joining me in this session. Now we'll meet on the tomorrow at the same time. Okay, so till then I'm just winding up this session now. So a very good